My name is Andreina Rojas, and today I'm going to be talking about the BreazeHome 4.0 project with product owner and mentor Dr. Masoud Sadjadi. So today I'm going to be talking about my favorites feature and my boards feature, in particular the integration. So I'm on the Git page for the BreazeHome project, and basically here I'm showing you all the pull requests, all the pushing to the master, all that stuff. And basically, what this means is that when you're integrating, you need to create a repository with your own code that you made changes to, and then pull from the collaborative repo, so where the main project is, and then basically solve for conflicts. So I was I wasn't the last person that integrated in the project, but somewhere in the middle. So people had already added stuff to the main repo before me. So I had to um, basically, so when we started the project, you pull the main repo, and that's what everybody starts with. And then everybody throughout the semester is adding new features, and then they push it onto the main repo, and then those changes are added. So then when I was going to push my changes, I had to solve a lot of conflicts where other people made changes to the main project. So I had to kind of incorporate those into my code and then add my code into the main repo as well. And that's basically kind of like what you see here. So all these pull requests, like solving conflicts, both for the front end and the back end. So here's solving conflicts, merging, and then basically for once you've solved all the conflicts, then you push it into your repository again, and then you do a pull request to the main repo. And this is where the product owner, in this case, Aaron, was able to merge my repository with the collaborative one, and then that's how my code got into the main branch and was able to be integrated with the rest of the project. And then I did that with the front end and the back end, and Aaron also had to do migrations with the production server, and that's how I had all my changes from the front end and the back end. Once I actually merged everything and everything should have been working, I went back into the website and I did some testing to make sure that everything was good. And I noticed that some of my code wasn't working. And the only difference between the main repo and mine were the amount of properties and like the way that the properties were set up, because in mine, in my local database, I only had like 100 properties, and then in the main repo there's like, I don't even know how many, so there's a lot. So I figured out that I needed to have more efficient code in some parts of my backend to kind of sift through all the databases quicker and more efficiently. And then once I changed that, my code was working perfectly again. So definitely had to keep that in mind. So when you're doing projects of this magnitude, always try to make your code as efficient as possible. When I was working with a smaller data set, it was efficient enough. It was quick. It was all good. And then once, I integrated, just, it was doing it, but just so slow. So then I had to go in and honestly change like one or two lines, and then everything was good. So keep that in mind. My function that I changed in particular was calling in the back end was kind of comparing all the properties. And then, so basically, the way that it works is that I have uh, a new database table called favorited properties, which just has the property ID and the user ID. And then for me to kind of call what those actual properties were in the favorited property page. So basically, this page, so this page here. So obviously the the table only has a property ID and the user. So to actually get the property and all the information, what I was doing in the back end was comparing, like getting each property and then comparing it, and that was like taking too long. So I just kind of did it the other way around, and then that was fine. Like it works perfectly. So you really need to keep that in mind, like the data sets are bigger and to be as efficient as possible. And then another thing was that merging and all that stuff does take a long time. So when you're starting to integrate your features, make sure that you have more than enough time before the showcase, because it was pretty stressful. Integrating and doing all that stuff the week of, because everybody's trying to integrate, everybody's trying to do it. So every time that you are like, okay, now I can do a pull request, somebody just integrated new stuff. So then you have to kind of close up pull request. And I think actually I have some of that on here. Yeah, so you have to close a pull request and then do it again. So it's kind of annoying. So here you can see like BreazeHome desktop number 59 pull request, and then I was 61. So somebody like kind of cut me off. So you have to keep that in mind. If you do it, if you're the first person integrating, then you'll only have your own conflicts of what you added, and then that's it. You'll be done super easy. But as long as people keep on adding things, you'll have more and more and more conflicts, because it'll be more and more different from your original, from the original repository that you downloaded and worked on. So my advice is to get it in as quickly as possible. And just avoid stress of doing this, because it was definitely stressful to do it at the last minute, especially with everybody there like freaking out at the same time. So once you do that, then everything should work. Make sure that you do all the sort of testing of your feature to make sure everything works before you integrate. Clean up your code, comment out the logs. You have to comment your code in blocks of like, okay, so I did this part, and you put your name and your contact information, and you kind of block it off so that people using your project next semester, like the next iteration of the project, can see who did what, and if they have any questions, then reach out to you. Or they can, specifically look at all the videos that you've posted and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, this was my experience with integration. And again, I really recommend for you to do this as early as possible and as efficiently as possible. Thank you. If you have any questions, please contact me or Masoud Sadjadi at this contact information.